Teacher today, Mrs. Ask. Oh, Cask, okay. Miss Ask would be an awesome name for a teacher. Anyway. All right. So multiply, no problem. What about divide? What is that really? No. What is that really? Yeah, it's really multiplying the reciprocal, yes? It's really x over y times b over a. Now, this is one of those things where when you got to here, Mrs. Bad Crumble showed you this, but probably didn't talk about why it worked, which is a real problem because later on in life, when we're talking about math, and I tell you that 3 times 1/2 is the same as 3 divided by 2, which means 3 divided by 2 is the same as 3 times 1/2 because it's the reciprocal. It's a bit of a problem that we didn't do that. But you will notice that both of them end in the same situation, yes? Okay, so now we get to something with slightly bigger numbers. Now you guys, this is not big enough to foil you. Wait, foil is a bad word because you guys used foil for something else. This is not big enough to cause you grief. Because, of course, even if you went straight across, this was easy to simplify, isn't it? Because even if you go straight across, it's 5 times 4 over 8 times 15, which is 20 over 120, which is, of course, 1/6, right? Now, what I like to do here is mention this, and I thought everybody knew this, but every time I show kids this, even in grade 11, even if you've seen it in my class before, kids still say, I've never seen that before in my life, which kind of hurts my feelings because a great many of you have been in my class, and I know you have seen it at least once in my class. But they still say, oh, I've never seen that before. Of course, what I am speaking of is this. The jet. Flying away to somewhere nice and warm. They may be going surfing, sleeping on a beach. They may have a hammock strung up between 2 palm trees. And a coconut shell filled with some yummy tropical drink and a fish taco.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. All right. Of course, what you would do here is you would notice that 8 and 4 share factors, yes? What factor do they share? 4. So, of course, you would say to yourself, self. He paused for dramatic effect while the computer was not responding. You would say, self, 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 twice. Then you would look at 5 and 15, and you would say, self, 5 and 15 share a factor. It's 5. And 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 15 thrice. And now I have 1, 2, 1, 3. And the answer becomes super easy. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. And you get the answer already simplified. Everyone who has been in my room at least has seen this, yes? If you were not in my room and you were still going straight across and getting giant numbers like 27 and 145, I am sorry, I feel bad for you. But now that you've seen this, you will never do that again. Yes, I was just going to get into that. If this were dividing, the only thing that would have changed is this second fraction would have been reciprocated, yes? Now, it wouldn't work in this case because then I would have had 15 over 4, 5 over 8, 8 and 15 don't share factors, and 5 and 4 don't share factors, but it would still work, okay? What I like to do now is somebody always asks that question. I say, yes, it would work. Would it work here? And I've just ruined my thing by saying, no, it wouldn't work there. But if I gave you one such as this, 16 over 27 divided by, let's go with 20 over 9. Could we do that? Of course, as soon as you multiply, As soon as you see divide, what do you know has to happen? We have to reciprocate the second one. And then we get 16 over 27 times 9 over 20. And then all of a sudden it's super easy, yeah? What goes into 16 and 20? 4. How many 4s fit into 16? 4. How many 4s fit into 20? 5. What about 9 and 27? 9. How many 9s fit into 9? 1. How many 9s fit into 27? 3. And all of a sudden I got 4 over 15. Super easy. Not 16 times 9, which is 134 over 27 times 20, which is 540. Right? Everybody cool? Now, if, of course, you can do this with integers, is it any different with expressions? Of course not. If none of this were here, what would you do with that? If this was 2 days ago, 3 days ago, Friday, what would you do with that? You'd factor it. And what would you get? On the top, you need numbers that multiply to what and add to what? Multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 1. So what are they? Four and 3. Which one's positive? 3. X plus 3. A plus 3. A minus 4. Yeah? And what would you do on the bottom? A plus 3. A minus 3. Correct? Everyone agree? Ease, bees, lemon squeezy, right? But there's all this over here. Is this already simplified? A minus 3, A minus 1 over 2, A minus 4. Now, hopefully, knowing what you know over here, you know to look on the tops and the bottoms, yes? Right? And what do you notice? For example, right there and right there. They're the same thing, so what do you get to do? Cancel them out, because A minus 3 divided by A minus 3, because that's what's happening there, is 1, isn't it? So they are, he paused for dramatic effect while his computer was frozen. They are canceled out. What else can you get rid of? A minus 4 and A minus 4. What else can you get rid of? A plus 3, and what are we left with? A minus 1 over 2. And that whole mess is that. Now, when do I check for restrictions? Do I check only at the end? Because if I check here, are there any restrictions? No, because the denominator is 2, yes? So can I check at the end? You check in the middle as soon as it's simplified, but before you cancel. So we got to check right here. So A cannot be plus or minus 3. And what else can't it be? 4. He paused for dramatic effect. And 4. Everybody cool? Okay. So now you know what to do, yeah? Everything is going to be some version of that. Don't arrive at a question and say, I don't know what to do, because you do know what to do. Factor, 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 cancel out common factors. What am I going to do here? Factor, factor, factor. What's that first one? Y plus 3, y minus 3. Over what? What's coming out down here? R, and what's staying in? R squared minus 1, right? times what's coming out up top here. R, what's staying in? R minus 1, right? Okay, over what? Y plus 3. Am I done? Am I done? No, why not? You would have to check for restrictions now, yes. What wouldn't be allowed while we're doing restrictions, which I will write in red? What can't R equal? R can't be 0, plus or minus 1, and Y can't be what? Negative 3. Excellent. No, because if it was minus 3 plus 3 would be 0. But if it was plus 3 plus 3 would be 6, and I'd be okay. You guys have missed one factoring here. You've missed one spot to factor. This right here, right? What's that really? What's that really? R plus 1, R minus 1, yeah? R plus 1, R minus 1. Now, what can go? R can go. R and R, gone. What else can go? R minus 1, R minus 1. What else can go? Y plus 3, Y plus 3. What are we left with? Y minus 3 over R plus 1. Do looks matter? No. You bring what you know to the party. Anything that is factorable, we factor. And then we see where that takes us. 3. What's weird about 3? Oh, sorry. I lost you after.
Oh, never mind. Oh, yeah, for the other one.
Of course you do. Because y can't be negative 3, because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. You can't have 0 on the bottom. Right? Remember, Sonia, what we're doing is really this. Y plus 3 cannot equal 0. So y cannot equal negative 3 because you've moved that over. Right? That's really what we're doing. And if you look back a day, you'll see I did that a ton. All right. What's weird about 3 that shouldn't be weird? It's got a pi in it. But that isn't weird, is it? Because pi is just another number, yeah? So, is this simplified? Sure it is. There's no factoring to be done there, right? But what do you see? 2 pi r, 2 pi r. So what goes? The 2 pi r's both go, don't they? Right? So the 2 pi r goes, the 2 pi r goes. I'm left with dh. That's a b, you idiot. dh over d minus 2. Now, what should I have checked for at the very beginning? Because there was no factoring to be done. Restrictions. What is d not allowed to be? 2. And what is r not allowed to be? No. R can't be what? 0, because that's all multiplying, right? And that makes sense. Could you have a radius of 0? Then you don't have a circle, do you? Everybody cool? All right. Look at 4 and tell me what's weird. It's division, so we got to stop for a second, don't we? Because when we do division, we know what happens to the second fraction. It's got to reciprocate. But we also know something about restrictions, right? Are we ever allowed a 0 on the bottom? No. So do I have to check that denominator now before I reciprocate? Yes or no? I haven't really taught you this. I'm asking what you think. Do I have to check this denominator for restrictions right now? Yes or no? Guys, it's a 50-50 guess. Somebody guess. Yeah, of course you do. Because you can't divide by something that's undefined, can you? So, we're going to factor everything. What's this top one here? X plus 2, x minus 2. What's the denominator here? What's coming out? X. That's leaving me with x minus 4, yes? What's this top one up here? I got to multiply to 6 and add to 1. What is it? Plus 3, x minus 2, and I got to multiply to negative 20 and add to 1. What is it? And x minus 4. Now, where am I not allowed zeros? Can I have a 0 there? Am I allowed a 0 in a numerator? Yeah, that's okay. Am I allowed a 0? He paused for dramatic effect. Am I allowed a 0 here? No. So I better check that. What in blue is not allowed? X cannot equal what? 0 or positive 4, correct? Am I allowed a 0 there? No. So what isn't X allowed to be there? Minus 5. I've already got the 4, so I don't need to worry, do I? Am I allowed a 0 there? No, why not? Because I'm going to reciprocate this in the long run, aren't I? So I can't have a 0 there. So what else can't X be? Pardon? 2 and negative 3. None of those are allowed. Does everybody understand? Now that I'm simplified, what am I going to do with this second fraction? I'm going to reciprocate it to x minus... You guys keep reciprocating while my lovely technology continues to work its magic. And now what do I get to do? What's going? X what's going? Oh, that's not 6. That's negative 2. So x and negative 2 is going. X and negative 2 is going. Is anything else going? X minus 4 and x minus 4 is going. Anything else? So what's my final answer? X plus 2, x plus 5 over x plus 3. Does everybody feel they can do this? What's the only thing that would make it more difficult? Look at number 6. What about number 6 makes it more difficult? It's got a coefficient out front, right? You guys do number 5 right now, and then we'll come back and we'll work on number 6 together. Everybody do number 5 right now. I'm going to shut down my screen. I'm going to write out the way I would write it out. It'll be recording, don't worry. Talk to your neighbor if you need to. I'm riveted by your argument. And she thinks you don't know what you're talking about. It's awesome. I think you guys are going to fight. Who has an answer? I'm not asking if it's right or wrong. Who would like to just say their answer out loud? No restrictions. Just say what you got. I'm sorry, Supal?
C plus 1 over C times C plus 7.
Okay, C plus 1 over C bracket C plus 7. Okay. Anybody got something different? What do you got? C over C plus 7. Anybody got something different? C plus 1 squared?
I mean, bracket C plus 1 bracket squared.
Yeah, C plus 1 squared. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Now, I'm going to erase the black. I hope I'm only going to erase the black. Okay, so everybody should have been able to get to here, right? Right? That's just factoring, yeah? Then I do my canceling. Does it matter where we cancel? No. First I check my restricted values, plus or minus 7, minus 1. That 7 is covered right here, and there is the 0. Because I can't have C being 0, because 0 times that makes 0, right? Then we start canceling. Are there any C plus ones in the denominator? Yes, so it goes. Are there any C minus sevens in the denominator? Yes, so it goes. Are there any C plus sevens in the denominator? Yes, there's 2, so one of them can go. And what am I left with? C and C plus 7. Is everybody cool? All right, now, what's weird about 6? There's 2 things about 6 that you should not like. Well, not that you shouldn't like them, but there's 2 things about 6 that might trick you. What are they? There's a coefficient, so our factoring is different, yes? What else? There's an extra term at the end, but that term's not a fraction, or is it? Because it's really over 1, isn't it? Right? So, should we change any of our tactics? Or should we simplify, simplify, simplify? Simplify, simplify, simplify. Who remembers how to factor that guy with a leading coefficient? Anyone? Good, do it. No, just go ahead and do it right now. You probably don't have it in your head. Yo. Of course you can. Tell me where I need to check for restrictions now. I'm going to highlight where I need to when you tell me. Do I need to check restrictions there? No. Here? Yes. Here? Yes, because it's going to flip. Here? I would if there was what? A variable. Here? No, because it's a numerator, and that one's not going to flip over, is it? Excellent. Now, I'm going to rewrite. Where can I cancel? Are there any 2m plus 3s on the bottom? Oh, wait, I got to do my restrictions first. I've got to do that. What are my restrictions? M can't equal what here? 0 and 5 here. Plus or minus 3. Not 3, 3 halves. And here we were good. Everybody's okay? Okay, are there any 2m plus 3s on the numerator in the denominator? Yep. Gone, gone. Any m minus 5s in the denominator? Yep. Gone, gone. Any 2m minus 3s in the denominator? Yep. Gone, gone. What's left? What's left up top? 6 and negative 1. So what's that? Negative 6 over what's left on the in the denominator? 2m. Am I done? This is tricky. Am I done? Am I done? No. What is it really? Negative 3 over m. Now I'm done. Pardon me? Somebody's drying their hands, so I can't hear a thing. What's different? Look in the warm-up. In the warm-up, what does that look like? That's x minus 14, x minus 2, right? How is that different from this? There's only one variable. Okay, what else? I'll rewrite what we had in the warm-up. In the warm-up, and I'll write it in gray, we had x minus 14 over x minus 2, right? Okay. So if x was 10, what would you have over here in gray? If x was 10, you'd have 10 minus 14 over 10 minus 2, correct? What would that be? Negative 4 over 8, right? Which would be negative 1/2, yeah? Okay. If you canceled these x's and you divided negative 14 by negative 2, you'd get positive 7, yes? Is positive 7 negative 1/2? No. Now come over to here. If m is 2, what do you have here? If m is 2, you would have negative 6 over what? 4, right? Which is, what is negative 6 over 4? You would never leave it that way. What would you do with it? Simplify it to negative 3 over 2, yes? M is what? 2. So what would go there? 2. So I would have negative 3 over 2, wouldn't I? Aren't they the same thing? Because this is multiplying, right? This is the same as negative 6 over 2 times what should be there? 1 over m, yes? And this you would simplify to negative 3, wouldn't you? So you would have negative 3 times 1 over m. And that's really negative 3 over 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. M times 1 is m. Understand the difference? There's a reason I do it this way, to get to here, so somebody says, but what about? So I can do this whole thing. Because as soon as you see it, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? This can't work over here in gray, and this makes perfect sense. Cool? All right. Are you guys good to go? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Go. All you've got to do tonight is the next page. Page 129. Okay? And tomorrow we will move on to adding and subtracting. Now, you guys should be aware of the ebb and flow of the class now, right? We've done simplifying rational expressions, and then we've done how that can help us multiply and divide, right? The next thing in your books on page 130 is adding and subtracting, yeah? Adding and subtracting fractions totally different than multiplying and dividing, isn't it? So adding and subtracting rational expressions must be totally different than adding and dividing, right? So what would be a really good thing to have right now? Pardon? Starts with a Q, ends with a Z, has W in the middle of it. A quiz. On what? On simplifying, multiplying, and dividing. Quiz near the end of class. Tomorrow. On what? Simplifying times divided by, and what's the one other thing we've talked about that we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about? Restrictions. Look at you! Stop it! Okay? That has been recorded for posterity.